Welcome to How to Manage Challenging Behaviors, Part 2, with peer group discussions. It is essential to watch our Part 1 video explanation about the Kids' Own Wisdom philosophy and approach. Otherwise, this video isn't going to really have much value for you. So it's a short one, but really, truly essential. So here is the YouTube link to that first part of this series on how to manage challenging behaviors in early childhood environments. There's the link if you want to stop this video and just copy that down. But if you've already watched part 1, then welcome. Let's get started. We always try to start peer group discussions by telling the children we'd like to ask some questions to learn more about them. Then we explain that we'll be listening more than talking, which they are always kind of surprised and happy about. And then we ask them if that's okay, and they always say yes, but it's a nice introduction. Keep in mind that the Kids' Own Wisdom approach has been successfully used to help turn around a wide variety of challenging behaviors. Some of them pictured here, but way more than these. Not always, but many times, the Kids' Own Wisdom approach is used as reinforcement for other social, emotional, and life skills development strategies. Because brain science is very clear, for meaningful learning to occur, information needs to be processed in a variety of ways. In other words, just being told or repeated what has been told does not develop meaningful ownership of information. Asking the right kinds of questions and then listening, really listening, does. So we're going to start with an example about pushing. We always like to start with just some casual conversation with starter questions to help the discussion get going in a real easygoing way. So raise your hand if you like to go down slides. What do you like most about going down slides? Who has a story to share about going down a slide? What's your favorite shape for a slide? Straight, bumpy, twisty? Why do you like that shape? How many of you have noticed that not everyone likes the same things? Raise your hand if you don't like going down slides. Tell us why that's your answer. So as you can see, there's quite a variety of questions so that it keeps the kids interested because they're not going to be automatically saying, oh, I know where she's going with that. Even little kids do that. So now would be a good time to show a picture that visually focuses the entire group's attention when you're asking them more specific questions. Because, as we said, this discussion will actually be about pushing. But we try not to be too obvious about raising subjects, especially subjects about kids' behavior, because most kids will see right through us and instantly be 3 steps ahead of us, which pretty much tends to neutralize engagement and learning. Not much progress going to happen that way. So here we're going to just start showing you the pictures and the questions, some of the questions. Who would like to take a turn telling us what you see in this picture? And you definitely want to give lots of kids a chance, whoever raises their hand. Who can think of a time in real life when it's okay to push someone? And then you can give them hint questions, but those hint questions will probably only have yes or no answers, so you just want to be sure and follow up those kinds of yes or no answers with why is that your answer? How does it make you feel when you see what's happening in this picture? Once again, they'll probably come up with a bad or some other sad or one-word answer. So you want to bring out more of their understanding by saying, tell me more, or I wonder why you think that. Is there something else you'd like to say about that? And it's always very important to ask who else has an answer they'd like to share about this. Who can think of a time in real life when it's not okay to push someone? Again, you can give hint questions. If you want to pause this video right now to read those questions, I'm not going to read them aloud to you. Who can tell us what patience is? If people have patience, how do they act when someone is ahead of them? Here's something to that I'm wondering what you think about. Who thinks having patience is hard sometimes? Why do you think that? Who has a story about a time when you were patient even though it was hard? Who has a story about a time when you just could not be patient because it was too hard? These peer group discussions can and actually should be about more than behavior. They can also be opportunities for expanding vocabulary around topics that are relevant. Tangential discussions have value too. For instance, some people think interrupting and pushing are kind of the same, and we can ask the kids about that. If they agree or not, does anyone ask them if any of them have any ideas about that? And if it seems like the kids are interested in a tangential discussion, you can show a picture related to the tangential discussion while you ask a few questions about the new topic before returning to the root topic. Again, a simple question to draw out kids' understanding works well. What's happening in this picture? Were any of you ever interrupted? What were you talking about when you were interrupted? How did you feel when you were interrupted? Why do you think you felt like that when you were interrupted? Now, it's time for an important reminder that your two main jobs during Kids Own Wisdom peer group discussions are: one, ask open ended questions, then two, listen and notice that everyone is listening. Hopefully, we've made it clear that listening is also teaching, just another form of teaching. A form that teaches by providing kids with the direct experience that they have something valuable to contribute to focused group activities, as do their peers. So they're learning their own value and the value of others, which is a lesson that can only be gained by direct experience. One more reminder: we have to trust that groups of young peers can and will arrive at conclusions that work best for everyone. And now is a great time to ask the group if they'd like to see a different way of doing things. I did not say a better way of doing things, nor did I say the right way to do things. This is important because it silently communicates respect for and trust in the kids' ability to arrive at conclusions that work best for everyone, including themselves rather than just themselves. You show a new contrasting picture without saying anything. Respect your students enough to trust them enough to see exactly what's going on here. The result will be students' true ownership of the issues being discussed, causing self-motivated behaviors based on their own deep understanding. After 5 or 10 seconds, ask a new set of questions. What's happening in this picture? How is this picture different from the first picture? Would you rather play with someone who pushes or someone who has patience? Why is that your answer? Maybe I don't have to tell you that this is the question to which your pushing students will be listening with undivided attention. And because the question is not in any way directed towards them, they're not feeling defensive, which allows them to be wide open when they listen to their peers' responses. No lectures from teachers are required at this point. In fact, lectures would be counterproductive at best, detrimental at worst. There's just no need to go there. Much better to either move on to a completely different activity like cooking or eating or whatever, or to widen the discussion if your students still seem fully engaged by showing other visuals that connect to your root topic through another situation with which the kids will be familiar. Like, for instance, you could show this picture for a few seconds, then ask, have you ever been standing in line at the store and someone asked the grown-up you were with if they could go ahead in line because they had fewer things to buy? What did the grown-up you were with say or do? Did that seem fair? Why do you think that? So that's the second Kids Own Wisdom video about how to manage challenging behaviors. We need to know, did you find it worthwhile? Your comments are extremely important to us. Will you please take a moment to leave one on this page? Oh, and this was just the beginning of what we have to share on this important topic, including validating research, helping you to design the kinds of questions that get kids most engaged with discussions, and many more practical examples you can take into your preschool, kindergarten, and first grade classrooms to nurture and support the social, emotional, and life skills development of your students. Thanks again for leaving your comments on this page.